Hi, and welcome to the Windows 365 What's New with Donna. Welcome, Donna.
Hello. Nice to see you. Finally, I think it's the first time we've actually chatted in person.
In person, yeah. You are in the US and I am in Denmark. So obviously, we haven't met yet. I really look forward to it. But
Me too.
we have this group where we discuss things, right?
Yes, we
The
do.
MSEndpointMgr group. And yeah, I love to exchange information in there and yeah, get more clever on certain topics like Windows 365, for example.
And that's something that I like to talk about. And so,
Definitely.
and
So
so for go ahead.
no, but Donna, please, I really want to know a little bit about you.
Okay.
What are you doing? Who are you working for? And let's have some background here.
Okay. So, my name's Donna Ryan. I am a senior PM in our Windows 365 team. So I do work for Microsoft. I am on the engineering team. I am on a CAT team, which is kind of a little subgroup. Stands for Customer Acceleration Team. And essentially what our goal is we act as customer advocates. So when we're working with the feature PMs and the devs trying to figure out what we're going to build next, this is
Okay.
it's one of the critical roles that a CAT PM plays is we act as the voice of the customer. So we're getting the feedback. When you talk to a Microsoft PM and they tell you, "Oh, give us feedback, we love it." Yeah, that's no lie. That's part of our job is to process that. So always give the feedback, please. Um, and so I've been with the team now since January of last year, so about 13 months. Um, Prior to that, I was an MVP within the enterprise mobility space. I had a little PowerShell tool called Wimwich that was somewhat popular. Um, that was good memories with her. I just recently went end of life on her because I'm not in config net. I don't do OSD day in day out. So I know there's some folks in the community that have decided to pick up the torch and have forked the repo, and hopefully she keeps living. But I was also doing consulting for about 11 years with CDW, in the United States. Worked with ConfigMan, remote desktop services, Intune, AVD, Autopilot, Windows 365. So, the systems management and the client virtualization stuff is, things that I find endlessly fascinating. Um, including boring topics like software updates. I know for most normal folks, hey, why would you want to talk about that? But I'm not right. Like my wife would find us, we'd be like at a cocktail party or something, and somebody would say, "Oh, well, what do you do?" "Oh, yeah, I work with Microsoft." "Oh, why do you always reboot my computer?" "Well, it's a fascinating topic. Let's delve into that one." And you see people's eyes glaze over. "No, here, honey, let him go. Let him go." So yeah, prattling about all this stuff, I absolutely love. So I'm stoked that you put this together. This group has been historically known for excellent kick-ass community tools,
Mm.
and a premier place for good long-form blog posting. And I know the consumption model is changing now. It's not what it used to be 5 years ago. And doing the videos and everything is now where all the hip kids are. So thank you for getting this old lady off of the long form. And
The hip kids.
I'm over
That's
40.
good.
Everyone's a kid now.
Oh, that's good. Oh, a good one.
Oh, but so seriously though, thank you for putting in the effort for this group to keep us fresh, keep us relevant, and keep us sharing in the community. It's very important. So big thanks.
It is. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, and thank you too, because you committed to do this together with us. So,
Absolutely.
um, and I really love doing YouTube stuff, and it's just something. Yeah, it's just normal for me. So it's not like a big effort to do this. But Donna, um, we are discussing the topics of Windows 365 in this one enterprise and
Okay.
the news here. And one of the first news that we're going to look at is the
Well,
Citrix
yes.
HDX.
So this is pretty exciting. Um, we are now supporting the Citrix HDX protocol. So what is that, and what does that mean? So if you've been a Microsoftie, you know RDP. That's our protocol. But Citrix had their own custom one, HDX. Some folks prefer that. Which one's better is a topic of ongoing debate. I will stay neutral on that opinion, but what's cool about the Citrix HDX component is that now we can extend this service to folks that are using Citrix Cloud, where they've already invested in heavily into a Citrix environment, but they want that ease of use and that easy flexibility of Windows 365, but want to be able to control that from their Citrix plane. So there is now a connector with an Intune to connect. The instructions are posted. I haven't done it yet. I don't own Citrix stuff, so I don't have it in my lab. But the key thing to take away from this doesn't change the management plane of Windows 365. That's still Intune, full stop. You still need your Windows 365 license. Again, full stop. But what this does allow is to do certain controls and assignments, and allows the end users to connect over Citrix receiver, or whatever they're calling it. Is it receiver? Is it still receiver? They changed that. Storefront, didn't they?
I think it's receiver, workspace, Citrix workspace, maybe.
There it is. There it is, workspace. I know they changed that name a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But yeah, you could use the existing Citrix client, connect over the HDX protocol, and if that's your jam, hey, we support it now.
That's pretty cool. Every day, actually, for a customer I work with, I'm connecting to a Citrix platform. So what you're saying is that Citrix now is able to hook up to Windows 365 and do some API integration here.
Yes, yeah, and so your users will be. You could go ahead and integrate Citrix into, or connect. It's probably the better word. With your, because it's got a connector. So you connect the two, and then with your existing Citrix client fleet, they can go ahead and start connecting to Windows 365.
Nice.
It is. That's very cool stuff.
Great. So on to the next new here.
This is a fun one. Virtualization on a 4 CPU. Okay, so why is this so cool? We have, up until recently, only supported nested virtualization on an 8x32 cloud PC. Nested virtualization, for if you don't know, that's running virtualization within a virtual machine, because cloud PCs are all virtual machines. And so when we started offering the 8x32, that was our first foray into offering nested virtualization. But if you've checked out SKU pricing, that's expensive, just flat out. That's not that there's not a value to it, but if you just have if you've got a full need for it, cool, you could justify that cost. But it's nice that we can now offer this to a lower and very popular SKU for folks that may need some level of virtualization. Maybe they're running Docker, or they're doing some type of development work, but they don't necessarily need that horsepower of 8x32. They can now use that on a 4x16. So we're supporting that now. It's not really any special configurations. You can go in and enable the Hyper-V layer on your cloud PC, and you're running. That's pretty cool.
Makes sense. That's pretty cool. So love the features that keeps coming to the product, and one of the reasons why I'm very interested in Windows 365 is because it integrates into Intune, and well, that's the product where I am. I love to manage stuff, and it's just so easy to provision a Windows 365 and get started.
It is.
I remember when I purchased a license, I just assigned it to my user, and I started creating these provisioning policies, and well, 30 minutes later, I had a brand new device.
Yeah, it's never been easier to deploy Windows, and I mean, that sounds like a little bit of corporate lingo or buzz terms, but realistically, I've been deploying Windows now professionally 12 years. Love task sequences. I love the task sequence, but that's complicated. Autopilot, yeah, it works. It does its thing, but there's hoops and connectors, and there's MDT. There's in the virtualization space, golden images, all of that stuff. But Windows 365 makes it so stupidly easy. What's your policy? Well, you've seen it. How many options are within provisioning policy? What, about 8, 10, something like that? And then you sign it to your user, just makes you a machine. It's super cool. If you're watching this and you haven't seen Windows 365 do its thing, go check out a video. It's amazing. We should actually probably do some videos on that topic.
Yeah, I think we might do that, Lana, as well. Should covering something, but there is actually a lot of good blog posts out there from the Windows 365 community. So there are quite some MVPs in the area already. So go check them out, and we are going to post some links to some great series as well in the description of the YouTube series here. Yeah, and cool stuff. Love when we get more for not paying more,
Yeah. So this other new one, this WebRTC. And so if you haven't heard of it, I don't blame you. It's one of those background processes that your end users are never going to hear about, which is by design. You don't want background services to come to the foray and become an issue. So what WebRTC does is essentially allows you to do your multimedia activities easier, because cloud PCs don't have a GPU. They don't. So if you're trying to do anything that has graphical intensity, it's like Teams, and this is our primary use case within Windows 365 for WebRTC is for Teams. So for you doing your video calling, screen sharing, etc., the video feed actually is being rendered on the local machine as opposed to being rendered on the cloud PC and then streaming. And the idea is you offload that CPU compute from the cloud PC to a local machine that can actually do some of that graphical stuff. And there's a lot of sleight of hand that goes on behind the scenes to make the magic work. This service, though, does get updated periodically. And it's very important to keep it up to date. But there's a slight problem with that service is it doesn't auto-update.
Oh.
So, yes. And now we're working on that. At some point, these things should all just be seamless, but we're still a new service. So with the WebRTC, if you're going to update it, it's a simple MSI. How easy is it to deploy an MSI with Intune? All right, it's easy, right? Well, there's a problem with that one, though. WebRTC, because Teams is dependent on it, if you go and run the upgrade, it will kill all your Teams processes. So if you're doing it yourself for your own PC, there's no big deal. You go ahead and deploy that en masse, you're going to have a lot of pissed off end users who lost their Teams meetings. So to that end, I did create a script package for proactive remediation. And we'll have the link in the in the description. This is one of the first scripts that I wrote and had published for our GitHub repository for Windows 365.
One question,
yes.
Donna. Did you use ChatGPT to create that PowerShell script?
No, I did not. ChatGPT wasn't around when I wrote it, so that's pure organic manual keyboard clacking.
That's good to know.
So the way that this thing works, you've got like you do with normal proactive remediation, you've got your detection script and the remediation script. The detection is just going to go look to see which version is currently available and then what's currently installed, and then return compliant or not compliant. Simple. The remediation script has a bunch of logic built into it because its goal is to not interrupt the end user. So what I'm actually doing behind the scenes is when the remediation script runs, it goes to check to see if there's actually an active user. If the user's active, it fails. And you can capture that to the right host text output will say user is currently logged in. It'll still show as a fail on your pie chart, but if you dig into the logs, you can see why. Once, and then you set your proactive remediation to go ahead and just try again, and then on the next cycle. Eventually, what should happen is it detects that the user is not in an active state. It'll then wait another predetermined time just to make sure that the user wasn't accidentally disconnected or just closed and you caught somebody. So it does take consideration of the user very much at the heart of it. Once all of those timers have cleared and there's still no user, then it'll go ahead and do the uninstall, download, and installation of the new version. And so if we want to...
If users is like me, not signing out of their Windows 365, but just shutting down the remote desktop, will I be logged out? So the script will actually run on my device?
Nope, you won't be logged out. You won't be kicked off. Just the end users just keep going doing their end user thing, and eventually they should get caught up, because even if their machines running 24/7, human beings can't. So at some point, proactive remediation should find that time to sneak in there with an update.
That's cool.
There is other information too. If we go to the what's new for AVD, you can actually see that it's also listed as a component of AVD. What I wanted to also show here too, if you want to do it manually or at least test it, you can get the downloader link, our current version. And so if you want to just spot check to see what you have in your environment right now, if your cloud PCs were provisioned, this month or prior, or at least January, I'm not sure when that made it into the latest version. But if your cloud PCs, from last year or older, then you very likely have the old version, unless you're already running this package. But you can see too what's with the new features that have come out for Teams and VDI, the give and take, individual screen sharing. So there's some bug fixes, performances. So if you're noticing that the help desk queue is starting to fill up with complaints about Teams performance, you may want to check out on that, because Teams is highly dependent on WebRTC to make the magic happen.
Really good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Donna, is that the news on the remote desktop WebRTC?
That is what I've got. You know what? Well, I've got folks, and I happen to have this here handy. If you're not familiar with, if you're not familiar with proactive remediation, you should. The thing is amazeballs. For you, even with some of its quirks with reporting and the timing, it is still a massively powerful solution. I've actually written a handful of solutions for Windows 365 around around proactive remediation, because you've got timers and you got reporting, and it's wonderful stuff. So if we go into reporting, endpoint analytics, proactive remediations, you can see here I had this set up from a while ago. Well, you can go ahead and create your script package. You'll need to go to the repo, grab those couple of scripts, blah blah blah. Input your script, your detection, your mediation. I've got I believe the docs on the repo have what other buttons to hit, and then next. Well, I gotta put something in there, but really it's just as easy as picking the two files, picking the group to make the assignment to, and then just cutting it loose. As always, if you're going to be trying this out, do it in, I was going to say prod, but that's not where you want to do it. You want to do it in dev, test something, be smart about it. The WebRTC has been performed reliably. Of course, since this is just a GitHub as is kind of thing, don't open up a ticket. You could try to hunt me down if you wanted to, but it's been running pretty solidly. But again, test. It's also, if you're curious as to how to figure out how to determine if your cloud PC users are actually active, you can go and pick apart my code. It's better than the WinWitch stuff. It's actually formatted correctly. And I think I put comments on there that weren't just jokes.
Unbelievable, Donna. That's cool. But there is something in the proactive remediation which we have a limit on 200, right? 200 scripts is the limitation here. But
Okay.
if you have 200 proactive remediations, you might have too many.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right, so what's next?
Next up, we have what's new in multimedia redirection.
Oh, right, multimedia redirection. So this is a cool one as well. This is another one that is also common with AVD. So what does this do? Well, much like with the WebRTC, the multimedia redirection actually is twofold. There's essentially an agent kind of that gets installed, but there's also a browser extension. And what this whole solution allows you to do is to view web content from certain web pages. There's a listing in here. The common ones are there. Your YouTubes and your big media ones. But those allow those videos to actually play correctly and rendered locally, so you can watch your web content without it stuttering and pegging your Cloud PC CPU. This one as well is one that doesn't auto update. So you probably are noticing, if you go ahead and go digging about, you'll be finding that this is going to be the version, this or somewhere similar. But we want to be on this 1 point because this service actually just went GA. I think this month through AVD is when it was listed as GA. Don't quote me on that, but it's new to GA. So you're going to want to make sure that if you're actually using this, you'll want to make sure that gets updated. Now the cool thing is it doesn't kill all the end user processes, so you can be a little more lax with the end user concern, but it will require a browser reboot at the very least. So if you have users that are complaining about buggy video, add this one to the to-do list as well. But
yeah, I can see that it's not that often it updates, so this shouldn't be a pain at all to do.
Oh, and the MSI installer will install both the browser extension and the backend software. Users will still need to actually go in and enable, or I would imagine there's some type of policy that you could set to turn on browser extensions, but the end user actually sees that as a browser extension. And so just as a food for thought, if they're not using that, it's something you'd look into as a Windows 365 admin. But if you're leveraging that, just be aware that there's a new version out that's new.
Cool. So Donna, all these news, where do we actually see them? Do we have a website where we can look at what's new in Windows 365?
Yes, there is a page called "What's New in Windows 365." Beautiful name. It gets right to the heart of it. And so you can see here's the stuff that we just talked about: the HDX and the nested virt. So if you're looking at Windows 365, interested, or just trying to stay up to date, this doc is wonderful. We also have features in development as well. So folks love to ask a PM, "Oh, what's coming up? What's on the roadmap? What's on the roadmap?" Well, there you go. It's not the NDA roadmap, obviously, but it gives you an idea of what we're working on. Just to take a quick look at their custom PC naming. That's been a big one. If you've been using cloud PCs, the name is CPC dash, I think the first 4 or 5 characters of the name, and then so now we'll actually be able to set a template akin to something like autopilot, where if you need to have some type of naming convention to support that. So we got that coming too. So yeah, just from those two, that can give you an idea of what we got coming and what we've built. Just personally, I'm really proud of what's new, not from much of what's here today, but from what we've been adding. Each week or each month, there's new features coming in. It's to me, it's just crazy. Just each month, bam, here's some new stuff. And these are things that users are asking for. These are things that companies need in order to fully adopt. So it's the dedication and the drive of the folks that are behind the scenes that most folks don't know exist. They are busting their butts to make the best Windows Cloud experience possible. And I'm really proud to be part of this team that's bringing forth each month new features and keeping this solution new and relevant and making it it's just awesome. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, I really like this website as well, and being part of many communities and looking at many products, Config Manager, Intune, all that, and also look a little bit towards the M365. You get a lot of news every month, actually every week, as we can see here. It's a lot to take in. I can definitely understand those who are not able to take it in, those who maybe do not work with this every day. This newsletter showing all features, how to do it, how to work with it. This is for you, you who don't work with it every day. And then Donna, there's something that you should go follow, right?
Yep. And so there's a group out on the old interwebs called the W365 community, and yeah, I'm part of it. I was there, as an inaugural, but it's primarily composed of MVPs, Windows 365 MVPs. And what's really neat about this group, which you should go follow, there's a Twitter handle. You can go to the webpage W365 community. You can do the RSS feeds, whatever's your jam. But what's cool is each week we're putting out a community newsletter. And oops, that's the wrong screen. I was clicking on my screen share within the window. But we're going to see different blog posts, announcements from Microsoft, tutorials, community tools. Each week there's new content here as well, and it's not just coming from Microsoft marketing. No, these are actually the MVPs and the community minded, and they're nerdy folk that really love this stuff and want to write about it. So we've got all of that aggregated here as well. It comes out each week. This place is absolutely worth a follow. One of the things that we also do is that we've been working on a user group. During the pandemic, these virtual groups we sprung up out of everywhere. And it seems to kind of be going kind of the wayside, the virtual, but we're still doing them. We're breaking it out into three geos just to make it easier. I know we've got one in the USA coming up in April, so go check that out. It's all being run through Meetup. So if you've been to a systems management user group, chances are you probably had to go through Meetup to get that get your connection email or the connection link or whatever. So should be a straightforward process. Should be something that most folks are familiar with. I would say if you're watching this and you're interested in getting involved in the community, don't know where to start. You can start with these groups. We're always looking for speakers. If you've got a nice blog post that you wrote that you want to show off something neat that you wrote or how to help somebody, ping me, anyone in this group. We are absolutely open to sharing content. And so please get the content out. Let us know how we can help you help others.
Yeah, it can be, somewhat dangerous to, sign up for doing a speak or tips and tricks like Morten here, who's actually a Dane like me. I see there's actually 3 Danes in the picture right now. There's Morten, Sune, and Thomas, and then a Swede, Ola. So I actually all know all these guys. Sune is actually my colleague, so that's quite nice. I get some news on first hand there. That's good to know. But Donna, this was absolutely Amazing. I really look forward, to follow up on this one and see what we have in of news in Windows 365 in the March edition.
I've seen the pipeline. There's some cool stuff coming, so we'll have definitely a lot to talk about next month.
Really looking much forward to that. So Donna, just want to thank you again for being part of this. I think it will be very great, beneficial for all the viewers that want to follow in all of the Windows 365 stuff.
Thank you for inviting me and letting me participate.
You're co-hosting here. You're co-hosting, Donna.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, thank you for the co-hosting position.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
See you.
Take care, all.